Flex, what's gone wrong then, in your opinion? Why is it that Kobbie Mainoo's gone from this prodigious talent, starring for England at the Euros, being seen as one of Man United's most valuable assets? How's he gone from that to where he is today, in your opinion? What's happened?
Well, the first part of that timeline, I'd say, Harry, is staying healthy, like being not injured. He's had quite a few injuries, and he still actually hasn't had a full season of playing football. This is his third season now. In his first season, he was injured in pre-season, and then we all know what happened when he made that debut against Everton late in the year, and what he went on to do was an amazing run. Then he got injured at the early start of last season, and then the manager changed, and all of the turmoil at Manchester United happened. And that leads me into probably the biggest reason why this has happened. So one thing is injury, got to stay healthy. But the main thing is Ruben Amorim and his system doesn't really permit for a player like Kobbie Mainoo, or like the attributes that he has, or the implementation of this Ruben Amorim system, and the decisions that the manager has made and that he's told us in public and shown us by his team selection, tells us this. I'm not one of these Man United fans that is hell bent that Kobbie Mainoo is world class and has to play all the games, and if he's not playing 90 minutes, it's a disgrace. No, I think some people are confusing that, of overhyping the players for having concern over his pathway, over a player. For if you are looking at the short stint that he has had, he's had that amazing goal against Wolves, that amazing goal against Liverpool, the amazing goal against Lyon, the goal in the cup final. Then he finds himself in the under-21s for England, and then they go, actually, let's get him in the seniors. Then he's on the bench for the first few games while England are trying to sort out what they're doing in midfield, because it's a total mess. And then he finds his spot alongside Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, and goes all the way to the final and looks very, very comfortable. That doesn't happen if you're not a very talented young footballer. But Ruben Amorim has come in and plays two central midfielders, and has now told Man United fans that he's competing for a space with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is not even a central midfielder. He shouldn't even be in that position. Bruno Fernandes is the captain of the football club, never gets taken off, and starts every game. So you've just told Kobbie Mainoo essentially that there's not really anything you can do here. You're not going to play. And that's just crazy to me. I hope he just didn't mean to say that, because why is he not competing for a space with Ugarte, who's been poor? Why is he not competing for a place with Casemiro? He's even competing for a place in central midfield with Mason Mount. When Casemiro came off against Fulham, he takes off Casemiro and puts in Mason Mount into central midfield. Then Mason Mount comes off, then it's Ugarte. Everyone but Kobbie. Right now he's fifth choice.
Yeah, I understand the concern, and I understand why, if you're a Man United fan, you might be a little bit confused with all this, because it's not like Manchester United have got an outstanding pair in those central midfield positions that they look at and they go, look, it's unfortunate for Kobbie, but actually the team's playing well, they're picking up results, and you can't really
100%.
question the manager's logic and thinking here. When the team is not performing, I thought they were better against Arsenal in the opening game.
We were much better.
With intensity, with a speed, with a tempo. I certainly felt that. Sort of being at the game, it really kind of came across, and there was an optimism at Old Trafford.
It was.
The Fulham game, I thought you started it okay.
Started well, yeah.
But then you started to see the old Man United creep in again. And if, you're still using the same players in the same roles and doing the same thing over and over again, people are going to question whether that's the right thing. And as you mentioned, Kobbie Mainoo's come from a place of huge, excitement to this now. I can completely understand why you think his future at the club might not be a pretty one.
If I was him, I would be looking at my options, because my squad role is not clear. Well, actually, it is. My squad role is very insignificant. That to me, I know there's a lot of United fans saying, just wait, he's 20, there's loads of games. But we're playing one game a week, actually. There isn't loads of games this year for Manchester United. One game a week in the Premier League. Okay, we're in the Carabao Cup earlier than usual because we were 15th last year, so we should play tonight against Grimsby. But guess what? Is he going to be starting against Burnley off the back of a good performance against Grimsby? Probably not. I'll be shocked if he is. I hope he is. But, you're just hoping for that turnaround. You're hoping that we're maybe hyper-focusing on this and doing too much. But when you're seeing who's writing about this and the stories coming out, and versus the manager's decisions that aren't just from the first two games. He's been on record last year saying, that's another thing that's annoying me. Sorry, I'll get this off my chest. Is Man United fans
therapy, man.
It is, mate. People keep acting like last season didn't happen. Fair enough, you have to draw somewhat of a line to be able to move forward. But it happened, and he's played nearly I think he's played 44 games for United. So you're touching 50 games. That's a lot of games to work stuff out. So with the players that are already there. So your plan for him last year was, you said publicly, he needs to increase the tempo, and he prefers playing forward in the 10s. So he played him there in one of the Europa League games, and he was excellent. And then we didn't really see him there again after that. You love Mason Mount, so he's been playing. Ahmad is a right 10, not anymore, but he was. Bruno was supposed to be that. And then you've bought 2 new ones in Koonin and Bumo, which that's fine. They're really good. But you're basically telling Kobbie Mainoo that there's no space for you in this. And if that is the case, don't be surprised that he's looking at his options.
I think Ruben Amorim's one of those coaches that he's got an idea of how he wants the game to be played. He's got a philosophy. And on the one hand, I commend that, because I think that the very best coaches do. They have a set of principles that they make sure everybody adheres to. They're non-negotiables, if you like. Yeah. That's what you call them nowadays. And I think that's a good thing. But there can come a point where if you're too principled, and as a result, there's no adaptability, you can end up basically being your own problem.
But that's also what the best coaches truly do, is actually adapt.
Yeah,
really.
Exactly that.
They have their philosophy. Okay, Thomas Frank's ideal situation is he wants to play 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. But I'm playing PSG. We're going 3-5-2, and this is why. Then we're playing Burnley next week. I'll bring back in some different players that aren't even mine. I've just got here. And I'm going to adapt. I'm going to go to City the following week. We're going to adapt again. That's what the top Pep does. Pep won a league with Fabian Delph.
Yeah, exactly.
Pep's putting centre backs at left back. That, that's adapting. That's, sometimes we actually call that probably what's going on. Why is he overthinking it? Do you know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Everything's a balance, right?
Yeah.
You can either be too principled, then it holds you back. You can be too much of a tinker man, if you like, and that can mess you up because there's no continuity.
Exactly.
You've got to find that balance.
Got to find the balance.
It feels like Amorim's so far down the side of the scale where it's about my way or the highway, that he'll allow good players and good things that he already has at Manchester United to be completely discarded.
Discarded for a system that isn't working. Yeah. At this stage, there is no evidence to suggest that this system is working or even beginning to. Now, it is early into this season, so I understand we have to let more games pass by. Once we get to 10 games, we're going to have a real understanding. Maybe not even that. It might even be 5. But 10 games, you should understand what's gone on. You've played a mixture of some teams at the top that you get up for, and you might get a different performance, and some teams in the middle or down the bottom. 10 games. So I understand that, but I'm not seeing enough improvement. And when you're talking about the rich history of the club and the traditions of the club, which is bringing through young players, giving them pathway, not making them the man, but making sure there's a pathway. And he's got like a track record in terms of Kobbie Mainoo of actually putting in some work, and you can see the talent. It's alarming.
Yeah.
It's alarming.
It is. You played Grimsby tonight. It's a chance to get your first win of the campaign. But I guess it's a game that you can't really win in if you're Man United, because if you win, everybody says, well, it's Grimsby and you should absolutely be able to. But there is that small risk that if it goes badly, all these issues that we've just talked about, they become blown up and even bigger than they already are.
It's it needs to be an impossible thought that Man United can lose against Grimsby tonight. If it is, in my opinion, that's a sackable offence.
Yeah.
Like with how bad we've been, if they find a way to dismantle this Man United team, it means that your way of playing, what you're doing to this team, is completely and utterly flawed. It's finished if it gets undone by League 2 Grimsby. And at the same time, like you said, Harry, we're supposed to go there, dust them down, keep a clean sheet at best, and move on to Burnley. That's the game. This game shouldn't even be in the hat of Amorim better deliver that. Like it's just you go to Grimsby. The whole reason we're even playing Grimsby now in round 2 is because you were rubbish last year. We shouldn't even be in round. I can't even remember last time this happened. Do you know what I mean? So, it's not good, but we've got to be winning that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.